Today, we're diving into something that doesn't get enough credit, doing things just because they're fun. No pressure, no deadlines, no being good at it, just pure, chaotic, joyful energy. And who better to talk about that with than my bestie, Meleah, who has been my partner in creative crime, accountability buddy, and fellow hobby enthusiast for the past decade. We even wrote 3 books together. She's always down for side quests to Michael's, a sound bath, dance or yoga classes, and her presence is a constant reminder to stop taking myself so seriously. Like right now, I'm literally sweating. Joy is a practice, not a luxury.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. Whether it's painting badly on purpose, wandering through bookstores for hours, or taking on new projects just because we feel like it, we're here to make the case that hobbies aren't just cute, they're necessary. And doing them with a friend, that's the secret sauce. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into it, this episode is brought to you in partnership with Ground News. Ground News lets you see how different media outlets cover the same story, helping you spot bias and get the full picture. I only partner with brands that align with For Love and Justice's mission, and Ground News is a perfect fit, informed, intentional, and rooted in critical thinking. Sign up today and start seeing the news differently.
Fighting evil by the moonlight, winning love by daylight.
Okay, thank you for joining me, my love. Meleah is a badass product manager by day and my role model by night. She's like my own personal version of Chelsea Handler. So thank you for being here. What are your hobbies?
You're so welcome. I have so many hobbies. I think I never really break up with hobbies. I just get new ones. So I really love reading. That's one of my oldest hobbies. One of my newest hobbies is dancing. I've been very into gardening, specifically native plant gardening, and hiking and different outdoor activities. I still consider kayaking one of my hobbies, even though I have not been this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean when I say I never break up with hobbies. I've dabbled in painting, occasionally writing, any craft kit I can get my hands on. I've got all the supplies to make air dry clay, like sculptures,
Your hobby
all of the
slut.
hobbies.
Hobby
Absolute
slut.
hobby slut. Yes. Oh my God. And like listening to music, going to shows.
Yes.
I don't really consider cooking a hobby, but people do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me, I think.
It's more
but
of
I
a
do
chore
cook.
for me.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you reading right now?
I am reading.
She brought it with her.
Examples.
Them with her.
So I tend to have a fiction and a nonfiction. I have not started this one yet, but this is Anita DeMonte, Laughs Last. Got it out. And so it's by Xochitl Gonzalez, and I really loved her first book, Olga Dies Dreaming, and I listened to her give a talk as part of the Six Bridges Book Festival a couple years ago, and it was amazing. Like, she's just so interesting, and she really is driven to include a lot of her like Puerto Rican heritage in her books, and it's just at least Olga Dies Dreaming was really good. It was a really inventive sort of narrative style. That's the word I was looking for, like fresh voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to start this one.
It's a cute cover, too.
The colors.
Mm-hmm.
I might bring this to my next hair appointment and just be like,
I love
these
the
colors.
Yeah, that is your hair.
The orange has faded, but yes, it's my vibe. And then the Let Them Theory. Yeah.
A must read.
I've been enjoying it. I don't know, a third of the way through. It's been pretty quick. It echoes a lot of thoughts from other books that I enjoy, but it's also, or have enjoyed. It's all everything's content that you need to hear again and again. It's ideas that you need to have reinforced and drilled, and different ways of explaining how to live out those ideas. And so fundamentally, it's about trying to stop controlling everything and how you can do that. It's 300 pages on...
Yeah, it's a normal size book.
On how to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm enjoying it. But I don't always read like one book at a time.
Oh,
that
one
too.
book at a time.
No, I also don't always read self-help. Sometimes I read like science for my nonfiction, or even memoir. Like one of my next books that I want to read is Hope by Jane Goodall. It's not the full title, but it's like Thoughts on Hope or something. And she talks about how, as a naturalist who loves chimpanzees, which is a species that's very at risk, how she maintains hope through it all. So it's an important one to read for now. But it's also nonfiction, so it'll be after this.
Mm-hmm.
What are you reading right now?
What am I reading?
What are your hobbies? That's how we got started on the reading.
Oh, yeah. My hobbies. Reading. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Something we've bonded over forever.
Yes. And then, yeah, dancing like you. I'm just going to copy everything you said. I don't do yoga as much as I should, but I do love it. And I love doing it with friends. Meditating is a hobby.
It can be, yeah.
And then I've gotten into gardening lately. I just landscaped my backyard with my dad's help.
What are you reading?
What I'm reading. Okay, Sunrise on the Reaping, of course. Also check my cute stickers. I'm very proud of them. But yeah, Sunrise on the Reaping, and that's depressing, but I'm about 20% of the way through it. I'm reading it on my Kindle. And then How to Giggle by my girls at the Giggly Squad, Hannah Berner and Paige DeSorbo. And it's kind of like a book table. What book table? A coffee table book. It's very, like, you flip through it. It's kind of like an editorial, like in a magazine. It's cute. It's got pictures of them. It has screenshots of their social media. And yeah, it's just advice on how to take life less seriously. And
perfect.
That's what we're all about. And that's what today's episode is about. Is a boot. Okay, so next question. What's your favorite thing about being my best friend?
Ooh. I love that you are always down to be my creative partner in crime. Like, some people, you say, do you want to go do XYZ creative thing? And they have reasons why they can't do it. I don't know how. I don't want to. I'm scared. Da-da-da. And you're like, maybe scared, but let's go. Why not? Worst case scenario, it's a bad time, or I'm bad at it, but it's a good time with my friend.
Do it for the story. Do it for the
yes. Yeah, you're down to do a lot, especially outside your box when it comes to activities and creativity. Ride or die in every way.
Okay. So how did you reconnect with hobbies after adulthood made everything about productivity? Because you're a product manager. So you're all about productivity and essentialism.
And
a book we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Before we started recording.
Girl boss phase, where we went hard into hustling. A little bit of therapy, shout out to therapy, and being kind of tasked with finding your joy. And if you really sit with what are my needs and what makes me happy, and you're really honest with that, and you try to shed your preconceived notions about what you should be doing with your free time, I think for a lot of people, you'll find that your answer lies somewhere back in these passions. And even during our hustle phase, we did talk a lot about trying to reconnect with sort of your inner girl for that fearlessness. And I think, for me, it's an inner girl. For you might just be child or inner boy that you're reconnecting with to see what you need to spend your time on, what is true to you, and starting from there. And then prioritizing that and recognizing it as something that's essential and that you need in your life, and going from there. And I kind of do approach a lot of things as a product manager, where I look at kind of the big picture and then I try to break it down into small parts. And even when I'm not consciously emulating those patterns, some of the ways that I approach ideas and projects carry over. That's not usually a bad thing, but it does kind of mean that I think about things, I think, in this bigger way, where I'm like, okay, what is fun? And then I think of the elements of fun and kind of, okay, how do we get to fun? And it's more fun in the moment than that sounds, but it's very deliberate.
Okay. Was there a moment that you realized you just missed doing things for fun?
I don't know if I can think of a moment specifically, but I can think of a era, and that would be college. I was so stressed by trying to make everything perfect and doing well at work, but also thinking about my time beyond college. And you have, especially with a lot of my hobbies being reading, or a lot of my hobby time being spent previously on things like reading, it really shifted when I had to read so much for someone else. I missed reading for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I think I found other things that I really just kind of missed doing for fun. Like I had a lot of fun. I did fun things, but in terms of like fun being an integral part of my daily life, I really noticed it in terms of reading in college.
Mm-hmm. You're so right. I didn't read on my own until after college. It wasn't fun. And after high school, of course, too. Because you're forced to read so many books.
You don't have time for your kind of self-directed reading.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know the moment that I realized I missed doing things just for fun. And it was when we started taking dance. Because Meleah asked me to take dance classes with her. And I just kind of said yes before I really thought about all the like PTSD I have from my dancing years. But once we started taking classes, like I think it was the first or second class I told you that it was fun. And it was the first time dancing had been fun, like as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it for fun. Like at that time, we didn't think we were going to have a performance, which we do coming up. But yeah, it was just for fun, and it was just to do something with you.
Yeah. Dance is such a good example because it's one of those things where I think tying back to like your inner girl and thinking about what your inner child would want. When I thought about doing things for fun, it was like, what is something that I may have like kind of, I don't know, always wanted to do. Sounds so dramatic, and it's not like I was just pining to dance.
You
but
can
it was
be dramatic.
like,
It's okay. It's a safe space.
I always wanted to dance. I thought dance seemed kind of cool, and my little sister was a competitive dancer, and I saw too, though, that kind of side of the coin. And she's quite a bit younger, so it's not like we would have been doing it at the same time. But I saw how stressful it could be, and how much work it could be, and not always joyous work. And not always kind of work in a good sense, sometimes just kind of stress and repetition. And it got
Loss
heavy.
and grief.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yes. Dance, especially like those kind of older years, I feel like in that pre-competitive space. And like something that we've talked about is when you're dancing and you love it, but it's also really hard. And then you don't know how you're going to be able to continue doing it because you think of art as something that you have to do as a job and has to be sanctioned by somebody. And a lot of this will apply to other hobbies too. But I think art is such a kind of creative hobby, and it's something that humans need to create. And I think for a lot of people, one of their hobbies is some form of art, whether it's music or writing or visual arts. But dance as something that I'd kind of always been interested in or thought about doing, but maybe didn't think was for me, or didn't know if I would like it, or didn't know if I'd be good at it. And then saying, this is interesting to me. Why not try it? And then see if I can get my best friend and my sister to come, because I know that they're already good dancers and they already are interested, and it's already something that they've gravitated to. And it's been so special. Like, I've loved it. I've learned a lot, and I've connected with my body in a different way, but I've also been able to connect with y'all in a different way.
Yeah.
And it was such a special, like, all of this to say, like, it was such a special moment seeing you kind of come out of class and like, you were happy. Like, you had danced and you were happy, and you were happy with movement, and you were happy like in a free kind of way. And you've tapped back into that like multiple times throughout. And it's not that every week is like we go in and we come out floating on clouds.
No.
It's still effort, and it's still work. And sometimes it takes discipline to show up and accountability, but it's so fun.
Yeah. And it was a part of my journey I didn't know I needed. Like, it was something I didn't know I needed to overcome.
To come back to.
Yeah, to come back to. And it's good for my inner child to find joy in something that used to be so stressful, like you said.
Yeah. And stressful because of expectations. Like, if we think about, and I think this gets to a lot of like sometimes instruction, like you need instruction to develop, and you need instruction and guidance, but sometimes our instruction can be suffocating. Like, dance is something that everyone is born doing. People move, animals move, we all move, but when you try to do it a right way, which can be important if you want to do a performance like we're doing, like we do all have to learn the steps and learn them together. It's a team effort, but we're all born moving. So why is it stressful?
It's actually the most natural thing.
Yeah.
Even though feels unnatural at first.
And it can be so scary to do and very vulnerable to do with people. Like for every person who will dance at a party, there are people who will never dance in front of people.
I was gonna make a comment about myself, but I just a little anecdote I'm gonna keep to myself. Okay, so hobbies are fun, obviously, but why are they so important? So the definition of hobbies is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure. But they're also important for mental health, self-esteem, and happiness. So we have a Women's Health article. So according to Women's Health, a handful of studies on the subject have now shown that thinking about the threat of COVID had a negative impact on creative thinking and problem solving. Quote, data shows that carrying responsibilities and demands have increased more so for women than men in the pandemic era. So it follows that activities done just for your own pleasure can fall by the wayside. And then research shows that pursuing pastimes can support your health. In 2010, a team of academics from universities in Kansas, Pittsburgh, and Texas discovered that hobbies and leisure pursuits were associated with myriad markers of better physical health, including lower blood pressure, body mass index, and stress hormones. According to one study published in March 2020, hobbies are linked with decreased symptoms of depression and 30% lower odds of experiencing depression.
Good for your brain. I really like that. I was going to tease you for using it like Webster's dictionary, but I actually really like the really broad definition of hobbies that you gave.
It's very simple.
Yes, and I was reading Out of Office by Anne Helen Peterson, and hang on, I have it here. Charlie Warzel.
Oh, I knew you brought more books.
I have all of the books. Just Mary Poppins of books. And I didn't even bring my Kindle. These are all like actual physical books that I lugged around. But it talks about in the last chapter community. So Out of Office is talking about kind of the work from home shift for office workers, the good, bad, and the ugly about it. And then at the end, they talk about, not the end, the last section is about community and about the importance of it. And they talk about how in the post-World War II era, if you had talked to a lot of adults, they would have been part of some sort of group, some sort of club, social club, bowling club, maybe a hobby club, like a gardening club, but also there were more just straight up social groups. Like you would go to a place, it would be a lodge, it would be this. Some of them were exclusionary and problematic, but it may be your church. You know, you would have somewhere that you went and some sort of community space and group that you belonged to. Yes. Okay. So I like your really broad definition of hobbies because it really encompasses, I think, the sort of social groups that were popular in the post-war era when we were, as like a nation, feeling a little more collectivistic. And some of them were problematic and exclusionary, and we wouldn't want them to exist in the exact same ways today, even though some of them didn't fully disband or whatever, the KKK. But other groups were great, like community groups trying to help out people, or civil organizations that still exist, like the Rotary Club or Optimist Club and things like that, where they do have a lot of really older members and they would love to get more young people going. There was a book about bowling clubs.
Reference the book.
Bowling Alone, and it was published in 2000, and it was the first book to take a broad look at the rise of the groups and the results of their widespread decline. And in general, it seems that our society has gotten more individualistic, and I say it seems, but there's data to back that up, and we're the worse off for it. And we have fewer places, like community centers don't get funded the way they could, or fewer clubs and like YMCA style places where you can go and take classes and do things. We're really lucky in the community that we live in to have multiple dance studios, even though it's a relatively small city, and to not have to drive and to have a lot of options at different times and for different types of arts. But that's not always the case, and it hasn't always been the case here. You might have had one studio or two and fewer options, and especially fewer options for adults.
That's also why I started this podcast, so it could be a sense of community. So remember to like and subscribe, please.
Make us your internet friends.
Yes, please and thank you. Okay, so what hobbies what have hobbies given you that work, chores, or even self-improvement projects haven't?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the main ones is like applied knowledge in a sense of the sorts of things that you might get from work or chores, whatever. But like self-improvement books, I think of them as a way to put work and chores in their container in a lot of ways, you know, like how do I get this balance? And hobbies give me like joy and applied fun. I don't know what applied means there. Like I'm applying the self-knowledge from the self-improvement books. Ugh, edge. Anyway, hang on. I really was thinking that I ever had a life.
And you can do hobbies with friends, whereas work, I mean, you might have, you know, you have coworkers you like hanging out with, but it's not the same.
And coworkers that I really loved, I don't get to work with anymore.
Yes, and we can do chores with friends too, but hobbies are just more fun.
Well, and it's about, I think you're doing something for just you. And again, like your hobbies can be structured and they can be courses, and your hobbies can even be like learning and more. Like your hobby could be more academic. You could be doing research on the side. You could be writing on the side, you know, doing all sorts of things on the side, but a sort of sense of doing something just for you and not doing it for money or doing it for someone else, but a really intrinsic honoring of self. Like, what do you find fun? What do you want to pursue? What are your passions? So I think it gives me fun and a creative outlet, but also sometimes relaxation and creativity and energy.
Hobbies are also resistance to hustle culture, which we know very well from our girl boss days. But The Times has an article called Young Adults Embrace Life in the Slow Lane, and it's about the millennial pause. Have you heard about the millennial pause?
No, what is the millennial pause?
Okay, so it's slow living. It refers to taking a more mindful approach to every aspect of daily life. Its origins date back to the Italian slow food movement, where traditional food production techniques were championed in response to the fast food boom of the 1980s and 1990s. Today, online influencers promote slow living by embracing hobbies such as gardening, reading, knitting, and baking. And a large part of the lifestyle is also centered on sustainability. And millennials are like leading the charge.
Yes.
So it's the millennial pause.
Okay, I have not heard it called the millennial pause, but I've heard slow mode or hard mode, especially as people are looking to boycott Target or Amazon and other companies right now. You know, Amazon is all about same day, next day convenience. And so it is slow mode. Or if you're to go get your item somewhere else or to order it from another company, the fulfillment's not as fast and things like that. Like I ordered nail clippers and it took them a week to get here because they're going through the postal service and things like that. It's just slower. But I do think, and I see it a lot in sort of under-consumption or anti-consumption culture where like if you have to wait a little longer or if you have to wait a week, you might kind of rethink whether it really fits in your life, or you might find a different way to solve your problem. But it forces you to think a little bit more between point A and point B. And Anne Helen Peterson, Out of Office co-author, her newsletter, Culture Study, she also has a podcast, talks a lot about hobbies. And there was a subscriber thread recently about hard mode, and then people kind of talking about whether it was hard mode or slow mode. But even things like using your library more instead of using Netflix and things like that, I see people talk about in terms of slow mode and reducing your consumption. And I think it is a lot of people our age. So that's a cute name for it, the millennial pause.
I know, isn't it? Instead of menopause.
Yes, your first womanly pause.
Yes. First the millennial pause, then the menopause. Fun times ahead. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about doing hobbies with friends and why it's fun. But there are more reasons why it's super important. So it adds accountability. You show up because your friend's expecting you to be there. In my case, Meleah texts me and harasses me, making sure I'm going to be there.
Hey, you haven't been at dance in a week. Where are you at?
Yes. I haven't missed in a long time.
And especially since we've been prepping for performance, our attendance has overall been very good.
Once I learned we were actually performing, my ass showed up.
Sure thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's like talking about accountability too. Like that's a hobby. In this case, the accountability kind of coming from the hobby, and we opted in to the performing, but it did add some pressure and some accountability. Like we've got to show up and we've got to learn and we've got to practice, and it just shifted it a little bit more. And I've enjoyed it to kind of have it make dance more a part of my like regular life. Like we've met up outside of dance and to like practice different things, and you've been working on different dance things outside of dance too.
Yeah, I've been choreographing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting.
But the accountability is so real, because especially I think I
need it. I won't show up if I don't have someone like harassing me.
And like millennial core, right? Like we're used to being able to look up anything we want to know on YouTube, which is great. But at the same time, YouTube can't say, hey, I haven't seen you in a week. Why aren't you watching this video? Have you practiced?
Mm-hmm. Maybe one day it can.
That's actually terrifying. I will stick to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm flattered. So we talked about it also brings deeper joy. You're making memories. You're giggling together. We talked about why it's important to giggle. Also helps it also helps give you the courage to try new things.
Yeah.
I never would have ever gone back to dance. I mean, never say never, but I don't think I would have ever gone back to dance unless Meleah had asked me.
Yeah, and it was really important, like, for me that you guys were willing to go with me, because I probably would have eventually, like, I had kind of come to terms. I was like, if they really don't want to do it, this is important enough, I might go by myself. But, like, I wouldn't have signed up as quickly, and I wouldn't have stuck with it. And I definitely, like, we had a pact for the recital in that we were either all going to do it or none of us were going to do it. And I thought y'all were going to say no.
Surprise, bitch.
And then they were both like, yeah, why not? And then it got to me and I was like, well, okay, yeah, why not? Like, we have a pact, let's go. Because, yeah, I think we kind of all thought we would chicken out. And then we didn't. And
we didn't.
That also goes back to the accountability. Like, we really surprised ourselves and took that risk. But we were in it together.
Oh, we're in it.
We're in it.
In it. We're in it deep.
But yeah, y'all gave me courage. And also, like, I joke that you're my, like, private dance tutor, and that's real. Like, you do have all this experience, and you're another set of eyes.
Sometimes I give unsolicited advice. I made Meleah practice with what do you call it? A stability ball?
Or like, stability ball.
Yeah, stability ball, a weighted ball.
I was holding my arms like a T-Rex, and they needed to be out like a ballerina. But the T-Rex arms are tempting.
Was there a time you almost bailed, but you were glad you didn't because we were doing it together? I can easily say yes, because I bailed a few times.
Yes. There were definitely classes that, like, I showed up to and then would text y'all after and be like, I only went because I thought y'all would be there. But also, like, they were kind of like, well, good. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't like, oh, shucks, I hate that you got something good out of this. They were like, good for you.
I'm glad you went.
That's healthy. But yeah, totally. Because, I mean, you're tired and, like, that's it. You know, you're tired. And I think that kind of is the overall theme, too, like, with hobbies and hustle culture. And one of the comments I was making around, like, a lot of my self-improvement reading comes down to helping me keep my work and play in balance is it's really easy to give up the things that you do for fun when you're faced with the things that you need to do or feel like you should do. Work is important. Work is stability. Work is income.
Girls gotta eat. You
Girls gotta eat, you know, like I need that paycheck. But work also has to stay in its container so that I can do other things and live my life, you know? And if you aren't mindful and you get too stuck in perfectionism or autopilot and listen to the culture instead of yourself, you can feel like you should never rest and you should be hustling and you should be working and you should be saving and you should be cleaning and your house isn't perfect, so why are you going to class? Somebody somewhere needs something, especially if you're a mother or a caregiver, and really having someone there waiting on you, or even the maybe of someone waiting on you if we haven't all agreed to bail, is a really powerful motivator. You don't want to let someone down. It helps you stay true to yourself.
Yeah. I've gotten really caught up lately in, like, thinking that every single second of every single day has to be productive.
Yes.
And I think dance once a week is a good reminder that like, I mean, it is hard work, but it's still fun and it's something I want to do and want to make time for.
And it's a double bonus because we always like, I mean, sometimes we are, you know, and I think this is part of like, we were going back to, you know, we might sometimes be tempted to bail, but when we show up, it's also time together that we don't always get in our busy weeks. Like, we're there, we're already together, we can go get drinks or snacks after, but we get to see each other's faces like once a week, no matter what, more or less. You know, life does happen, but
yeah, I like that it's a guaranteed time each week with my bestie.
Yes, it's so cute. And like dance is great, but dance and bestie time, even better.
And we've gotten to see each other. I mean, we've always gotten to see each other grow, but like in a different way, like using our physical bodies.
Yes, it's an interesting, like seeing techniques improve and like seeing you like knock the dust off some of your old moves and try
fall
things.
on my ass. You
But
got to see me fall on my ass.
also, you fell so gracefully. It was hilarious because I've seen you fall like in real life, and then I've seen you fall in dance class.
Well, I wasn't drunk this time.
That's so true. But y'all, when she fell in dance class, she pointed her toes.
You always have to point your fucking toes.
It looked
Y'all know.
purposeful. Like she fell and was just like, oh yeah, I did that. And it was so funny to see you in that mode, right? Like, exactly. You always point your toes in dance class.
Lesson number 1.
And that's not something like, I'm sure it does carry over to your regular life, but it's like not to the same extreme. Like good posture, like immediate smile, like giggling, you know, like it was really fun. And just seeing that kind of thing in the way that you would remember moves and also seeing you get confident in your dancing again. Cause definitely you went in like, I know some of this, but I'm rusty. But then she would be like, do you remember how to do a chaîné turn? And you would be like, oh, is it this? And then bust out a perfect chaîné turn from memory and things like that. Yes, your PKs.
Show my PKs some love.
Yeah, but you never didn't know what a PK turn was. You were like, oh, PKs? Those have been my favorite for years. Let me show you.
PKs?
I love them. They're great. Watch. It's like a bird almost. You're like, PK? Can I do a PK? And yeah, that's just so fun too. Like it's all, like you've never talked to me about your deep, abiding love of PK turns.
I didn't remember it,
but it's there. Like you can see it.
Oh, it's there.
You do it, and you're like, oh
no. But it's been good watching you too, because I mean, that's what was crazy to me. It was like you do everything so boldly and confidently like when you said you were like insecure about dancing, I was like, you're insecure about anything? What are you talking about? But you still do everything so confident. Like you tackle everything.
Yeah.
Like it's been fun to watch you and inspiring because I don't just like, I'm very timid when I try new things. And you just dive fucking in head first. And yeah, I've watched you improve and it's been fun.
I think a physical activity is a good one because you can really see, like, visually
someone progress.
Yeah, the form and how easy it gets, and like, you know, oh, they were doing it this way, and now they're also able to do this more advanced thing, and like working on things, and the enjoyment for me, and it's come a lot more naturally, even after just a little bit of time and like practicing with you on like off days and stuff. But yeah, it is really fun. I do try to throw myself into it with gusto.
Yes, you do. As you do with everything.
Life's more fun with gusto.
Yes.
Drink an energy drink and go to dance class.
So what have hobbies taught you about yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to pull out Glennon and say that I can do hard things.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because that's definitely one of the things I think I explore most through hobbies is confidence and patience.
Even reading books give me confidence. Like, because I can check it off my list. I'm like, I read a whole ass book. 400
new ideas.
Pages.
You've engaged in that conversation. You get the satisfaction and the stimulation of the book.
Especially when you get sucked into a book and it feels like they're your best friends and you're just like, oh my God, you should blow through it.
And when you can this goes back to like the community and doing things with your friends. But one of the reasons I was excited to read the Let Them Theory is because Elise had read it, listened to it on audiobook. So also she told me like, read the book, you'll prefer it. So book, if
Love
anyone
Mel
out there.
Robbins, but I don't recommend the audiobook.
Unless you're in the car or whatever, then you do what you need to do.
Yeah,
But
it was fine. It's just hearing Let Them and Let Me over and over and over again is a lot.
That is, oh my gosh, this is a bit of a tangent, but one of the things that I also like as someone who has written before and enjoys reading is listening or reading authors talking about their work. And John Scalzi is a science fiction writer whose work I really enjoy. He's really funny and has a lot of inventive sort of prose. But his books are also really popular on Audible, and Will Wheaton is the narrator. And Scalzi commented, I don't remember if it was on a social media post or his blog, but commented that he's actually adapted his writing style over the last several years to account for the fact that his books will be read on audiobook. Because it used to be more rare for books to be made into audiobook and burned on CD, but all of his works are made into audiobooks for Audible, and they're read by Will, and so he tries to take out some of the I saids in anticipation of them being read as dialogue. And that's something that I think is just so interesting, like the way, and that's another like audiobooks as reading as a hobby. And so you can layer your hobbies together. Like I listen to audiobooks when I'm gardening.
I do too.
It helps with my patience.
It also helps with mundane chores.
Yes.
I listen to audiobooks when I wash the dishes or when I commute.
Yeah, so you add your hobby joy to make one of your things that you must
you're
do
making time
more
for
bearable.
it. Yeah.
And I think that's something too that I've learned about myself through hobbies now that we're talking about that, is that you can make everything a little more fun. And I've always listened to music or watched TV while I did chores around the house, but I hadn't thought about it through the lens of hobbies and enjoyment until kind of getting more deliberate about joy and hobbies and cultivating things. And so listening to things on audiobook or reading them and then being able to talk about them with your friends is really fun. Bounce ideas off of each other, and you get more confidence too, because you're like, oh, here's this cool thing I read. And as a person, you want to be able to share cool things with your friends.
Yes, we're creatures who want to share.
And we want to share. We want the affirmation of someone thinking we're smart. And confidence. Like maybe you read a book that like seemed challenging or that you wouldn't enjoy, or you started a hobby that you didn't think you were capable of. Including gardening. Gardening is one that gives me confidence, but also makes me make a lot of peace with myself.
Same.
It's a lot of failure.
Yeah, it's humbling.
Yes. But it's
grounding and humbling.
I guess I also view gardening too as kind of a process art, because stuff may die, but you're out there in the dirt.
Well, and even if it grows, it takes
for you
time and care and patience.
And we've talked about this. I'll send you little videos from the garden, and I'll be like, look, it's grown like a centimeter. Imagine if we were so proud of ourselves for growing 1 centimeter. And so thinking of yourself as a little flower, like that's something I've gotten from my hobby.
Oh yeah, what flower would you be?
Ooh.
This is a spontaneous question.
A Missouri evening primrose, the pink ones that grow by the roadside.
Ooh, that's gorgeous.
They're everywhere. They're pretty, they're fun, they're low fuss.
What flower would I be?
They're hardy.
Meleah's a master naturalist, by the way.
Yes, that's one of my hobbies.
Yes, she's very into plants and flowers.
One of my hobbies, and also a community organization that gives us, like, we volunteer and we do different activities, but we garden together, we collect seeds together, we ID plants together. And so it's another example of a community group. If you say you're going to be somewhere and you're going to do volunteer hours or you're going to have a meeting, you'd better be there. Okay, so Missouri evening primrose, they're they're short, which is important. They'll grow pretty much anywhere. They bloom all summer, and they're just so pretty. I've loved them since I was a kid. They're one of the first wildflowers that I remember seeing everywhere and kind of noticing. And then you would be...
what would I be?
I had to think about this, but because you are a Cancer, you would be a sensitive briar.
Zodiac.
The zodiac sign. Her zodiac sign is Cancer, and it means she loves to cry, and she's very sensitive.
Yes.
There's a plant, it's our native mimosa, and it's a briar. It's like a low growing vine, and it's the sensitive briar.
Oh, the sensitive briar. Like
it's
briar
totally
rose.
you. And so they have these beautiful leaves, and when you touch them, they will curl up because they don't want you to touch them because you're a stranger.
I love that.
And their flower is a pink, like, puffball with golden pollen.
Just like me, I'm a pink puffball.
Pink puffball. who's sparkly. Like the
Yes.
golden pollen looks like gold. They're
need to look this up.
beautiful.
A sensitive briar. Ooh!
That.
I like that.
Sparkly puffballs.
I'll take that.
And honestly, I could think of 1,000 plants for either of us, but that's like, I really like the symbolism of that one for you.
Thank you. I'll take it.
You're very delicate.
I'm delicate. Taylor Swift, don't make
Yes,
me start
ma'am.
singing. Don't make me start singing.
I read your outline, remember?
Okay. So now we're going to give some advice to the listeners on starting or restarting hobbies. So examples of easy entry-level hobbies to try with friends. Some of these are from listeners of the pod. So gardening, yes. Gardening, literally touching grass. Preach. Playing video games, watching movies, and I would say, I forgot to say this earlier, but watching reality TV is probably my favorite hobby.
Yeah.
It's like human psychology that I get
I'm getting to
study.
talk about it and
Yes.
like engage in the commentary.
The community aspect is huge. Oh my God.
Even within the different, like, I mean, not community in the sense of like people, but like the shows have community with one another. They're in conversation with each other, and they're in conversation with like the culture.
Even the fans have their own culture. So then cooking, baking, like you said, cooking is a hobby for some people. Collaging and photo booking, journaling, word searches, crochet, painting or drawing for fun, trying a new drink recipe.
Cute.
Board games, makeup and nails, photography, and reading and book clubs.
Yes, makeup is one that I was thinking about today because I did a little spot for the podcast, and I was like, for me, it's really something that I just kind of do. It's not a huge expression, but for people in my life, like it's a big method of self-expression. Like they take really bold risks with their makeup and they make statements with their makeup. And it's kind of like cooking, I think, in the sense that I do it just because it's like, okay, check. But it's something that has the potential to be a great hobby, and like different lipsticks and different bold decisions.
And I like trying different products. That's a hobby in itself too. Because I'm not necessarily, I did try a little different eyeshadow today. But yeah, I don't usually go crazy with makeup.
A little bit of like consumerism, but also make it fashion.
Yes. Call me out on my consumerism. So some more advice when you're starting or restarting a hobby. Don't worry about being good at it. Pick something low pressure to start. Invite a friend, low stakes, low drama. And make it about joy, not results.
Yes. Make it, remember that you're doing it for fun. That's something that I think people take stuff way too seriously.
Yes. I found myself venting to Cody a little bit about like practicing for the dance and just like my anxiety around it. And he was like, but remember how much fun you're having.
Yes.
And remember that like you get to do it with Meleah.
He's a good egg.
He is a good egg.
Friend of the pod. Husband of
my
the pod.
husband, yes. Pod husband. Okay, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Oh, I have a little bit of advice for starting a hobby.
Yeah, what's your advice?
We touched on it earlier with the like find a studio, take a class. So like if you have the means and you can afford to take a class or pay someone to help you like get into the hobby, that's always great. But check out your local library and your local community centers, because there may be opportunities for even your local like newspaper or Facebook groups. There may be opportunities to go try a new hobby for free or for very low cost, even with instruction or in a workshop setting, or look for local studios that might offer chances to try things, or even events like if you're local, Conway has an art walk, North Little Rock has an art walk, and Hot Springs has an art walk, where a lot of times there will be activities for the public where you can try different creative things or look at how other people are doing their hobbies and connect with people, depending on what your hobbies are. But trying to find community and learning from people. Like I said, we're millennials. We know you can learn how to do literally anything on YouTube. So of course, look it up on the internet. But there's really something to going and getting a hands-on experience. It's how we've learned things for years, centuries, eons. We would have things like handed down. And you would be amazed what you can find in your local community. Even if you're rural, if you look at like the state parks or things like that, there may be really low cost programs to try new things. And even if it's not exactly what you want to do, it might be a skill that you can learn there and apply. So if it's like Cooking with Wild Game is a program that we do have here in Arkansas. So maybe cooking is your hobby, but maybe you're not a hunter and you don't have wild game. Go take the Cooking with Wild Game class. See what you can learn. I'm sure there's something applicable, and you'll talk to someone and learn new things and get out of your box a little bit. So
in that same vein, I was going to say, stay open. Like, keep your mind open.
Absolutely.
Because, like I said, I never would have done dance, but then you ask me and it's like, well, I could say no, or I could just like,
give it a try. And our local library does have dance classes. It's just sometimes different styles or different times and things like that. So yeah, see what's available for you to go check out in person and totally stay open. Like that's one of the things I think that was cool about school, is we would try different things in classes or workshops, or our teachers would bring in new people. And as adults, we don't explore as much as we used to.
No, we don't. Never say never, y'all. Yeah. To quote the Bieber. The Biebs.
Very millennial of you.
My chuggy. Oh man. Okay, now are you ready for some rapid fire questions? That was good advice. Okay, here we go. If you could instantly master one hobby, what would it be?
Painting.
Oh, me too. Either painting or the piano. I want to learn piano so bad. Okay, indoor hobby or outdoor hobby?
Outdoor.
I figured. One hobby you tried and were hilariously bad at?
That's a lot of them, honestly. I think a lot of things, at least we're so critical of ourselves. This is not very rapid fire of myself, but like we're so self-critical when we're trying new things that like any attempt is going to be pretty hilariously bad. So probably anything I've like tried for the first time, I think I'm at least hilariously bad at. Like dance for the first time, watercolor for the first time, acrylics for the first time, pottery for the first time.
I feel like I was bad at rage throwing bottles against a wall the first time I did it.
Which was hilarious. Yes. I remember you saying that, because it's like, girl, you can't actually be bad at this.
But then I got the hang of it. I got the rage. Like I channeled my rage.
Yeah, and it was pretty
because I was so focused on, am I doing this right? And not like how it feels.
You were in your head, not in your body.
Yes, exactly. Okay, next question. One hobby you try. Oh, no, I just asked that. Dream hobby if time and money were no object. Yachting.
Oh, that's a fun one. I don't know, the orcas. The orcas would be really pissed if I took up yachting, so I guess I'll give them that. Maybe like deep sea diving or something like that. I want to think of something like really out there. Like if time and money were nothing. Yeah. I want to dive around and see shipwrecks. Or go to space like Katy Perry.
Oh my God.
That's assuming the planet is like cool.
Take a little Daisy up there with you. Okay. Early bird hobby session or late night creative chaos?
Late night. I can't be accountable to anything early.
Yes.
Sometimes it'll happen, especially for my master naturalist. In the summer, we get out there pretty early, but like still my definition of early is 7 or 8, not true early bird. Like birders will get out there early. Some of our fisher people, they will get out there early.
My husband.
4 a.m. early bird. It's not me.
Okay, if you had to pick one, paint, build, bake, or dance?
I need more info, like for fun or for like practicality, because building, like
for fun.
Okay, yeah, for fun.
Yeah, for fun.
Dance is one of the more joyful ones, honestly. I think that's a place that I'm getting a lot of like, probably because it's very physical and I needed more like physicality in my life too. But like building is great. Building's very practical, but I think it's kind of, when it comes to skills, I can still get more work mode and less joy mode. I'm not out here like architecting crazy she sheds for fun. I'm like, hey, I need this. How can I creatively problem solve? And I do think of it as a hobby, but it's still more of a means to an end. That's true for some other stuff too. Cooking too.
I love that you're Lorelai Gilmoreing these rapid fire questions.
When you said rapid fire, I was already like, oh no. Okay, so dance. Dance is my rapid answer. I was absolutely prodded by the podcast host to give that answer, but I'll take it.
I pressured. Okay, this is a good one. What's one we should totally try that hobby we haven't done yet? That was a weird way to ask that. Let me ask that again. What's one hobby that we haven't tried yet that we should try together?
My heart says improv, but my brain says never. You know what I mean?
I want to do improv.
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm scared to death of it, but I want to do it. I think it would help me.
I do think it's one of those, like, we should do that sometime kind of
Yes.
things. Or, I mean, if we had a little bit more comedy culture, like, we could do a different kind of class, but around here, it's just improv.
In another life, I'm a stand-up comedian.
Exactly.
Like,
Town
truly.
crier. The tarot card
Truly.
said so.
I was the town crier. Okay, hot take. Is reading a hobby, a lifestyle, or a personality trait?
It's a hobby.
It's not all of the above.
No.
Okay, explain.
Now you want me to Lorelai Gilmore it.
Yes, I do.
I think it's not a lifestyle or, hang on, what was the third one?
Personality trait.
Personality trait. I think there are probably some personalities that are more drawn to it than others, but ultimately, and kind of same for lifestyles, like some lifestyles have more room for it, but ultimately I think it's just like any other hobby in that if it's part of your lifestyle, it's because you've prioritized it.
Mm-hmm.
The same way people who are like really amazing chefs have prioritized that in their private lives and they've integrated that in their day-to-day life. And then same goes for personality trait. Like it may be something that you're more drawn to or that you enjoy more because you're a certain personality, but I don't think there's any one type of person who's innately a reader. I think everyone is a reader really because it, for me, ties back to just the human capacity for storytelling.
That was very insightful.
Thanks.
It's a good way to end the pod.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was the last rapid fire.
Okay, well, it wasn't very rapid.
You did good, kid. No, it wasn't. It was
Very
not.
Lorelai.
Very Lorelai Gilmore.
There's
Okay.
a reason we love those. Like, come on, Sherman Palladinos, they get it.
Oh my god, yes.
Problematic in
Marvelous
places,
Mrs.
but-
Maisel.
Yeah, we love a chatty heroine.
I don't
When
think
people
I
watch it,
ever
they're
finished
like,
that.
oh gosh, go back and do. It's
I know.
cute.
Well, I didn't want it to end. So
That happens.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you for being here with me, Meleah. It's been so fun. Where can everybody follow you? You can try to find me, but I have honestly been focusing more on my hobbies and less on the internet. So I'm still on Instagram for now as Meleah B. I log in occasionally and check things. And then I'm on Blue Sky occasionally as Mebby, Mebbe. And then
Mebby.
you can find me in Elise's group for Love and Justice. Periodically, I pop in when I'm on socials. And then, I don't know, find me at an art walk, find me at a dance class. Come check out some hobbies in Conway. See what's up. Period.
Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to join the conversation, go ahead and join the Facebook group that Meleah just mentioned. It's called For Love and Justice. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Now we're good to go. I'm just gonna get footage of you reading.
That'll be good for the end. You can just like tack it on as bloopers. Be like, this bitch really does like to read.
No, seriously, I'm gonna. Oh, I should do. Just blanked. Sorry, that sentence doesn't make sense. But, okay. Oh, okay, it does make sense. My box is getting bigger.